Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today, we have this big fella. This is the Spyderco Tuff. It's back in limited form. DLT Trading got a hold of Spyderco, convinced them to perform a bit of necromancy. I guess there was probably some cash involved. And they brought back a knife that was discontinued way back in 2014. As the name would imply, Tuff. This is a big, thick-bladed knife. It is designed by Ed Shemp. He was one of those champions in the cutting competitions. If you've seen those, there's a lot of, big, quick and powerful, chopping kind of cuts. This obviously is kind of the shape of it. It kind of indicates that it's definitely a very unique shape. I kind of knew this knife existed, but it was discontinued before I really got into knives, so I didn't know much about it at all. I have to admit, I didn't see the internet clamoring for it to come back or anything, but DLT has brought it back. It is still currently available for $315. It's not an inexpensive knife on the DLT trading site. You can go there and buy one. You're getting a crewware steel. It is a titanium frame lock. It is made in the Taichung, Taiwan factory, so it's one of the better quality factories that Spyderco has. I do like that it's got kind of the more old schooly looking Taichung, Taiwan printing on there. The font seems to have evolved a little bit over the years, but this looks kind of like more of the old school stuff. This guy has a black, I'm going to make sure I get this right, titanium carbontrite coating on the blade, which the coating looks amazing. And I can't complain about crewware at all. I love crewware. It's a great steel. It's a tool steel that's a bit more stain resistant than D2 and stuff like that, but it's still not definitely not a stainless steel. But this has that really pretty coating on it, so that doesn't really matter as much. Same thing on the pocket clip, which is a bit unique. Again, this is a knife that was discontinued 7 years ago. So, but yeah, if you like the look, you like the look. It is definitely different than a lot of stuff that you can currently buy. I will say that the pictures don't do the green G10 justice. I normally don't like green, especially like olive drab green. In pictures, it looks very much like an olive drab green. In person, it's not really showing up on this light either. It looks very green. I think under bright lights like this, like bright studio kind of lights, it looks very green. I think that is why it looks like that in the pictures. It's just as gray as it is green. But yeah, if you like the shape of it, you like the shape of it. It's definitely very well built. And yeah, made in Taichung, Taiwan, very well built. No problems there whatsoever. Let's do some specs and size comparisons before I just keep rambling like a moron. It's really hard to even figure out because of the unique curved shape of this thing exactly how to line it up. But you have a blade length of, well, we're going to say 3.7 inches if you measure it the normal way from here to here. But if you measure it up there, if you're, if a cop's looking at it and trying to give you the maximum blade length to try and punish you, they could argue it's 4.25. So whichever way you want to look at it. Overall length, though, is 8.8 inches. Blade thickness, as I said, pretty heavy blade stock, especially for a Spyderco, 0.16 inches. Handle thickness, though, not as thick as you'd think, 0.48 inches, and a weight, according to my scales, of 6.46 ounces. So, not a tank, but it can see it from where it's standing. Now, let's do some size comparisons. We're going to bring out the usuals. We have your Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Obviously dwarfs that. We're not even going to bring out the small ones, you know what, of my pairs, because it would just be a waste of time. It's a lot bigger than those, let's just say that. You have your Benchmade 940. And we will bring out the, where is it here? The CV Backlash. And you know what, we have it right here. Let's bring out the Ontario Rat 1. See, the Rat 1, not what I would consider a small knife. And this is still just a little bit longer than that. But again, it's just that big curve. It does take up a fair amount of real estate for sure. Now let's talk about the individual aspects of this knife. The blade. So it is definitely a very unique shape, I will say. Again, I think it's designed more, the guys coming from that kind of chopping sort of, cutting composition background. And it's not too thick behind the edge for this thick of a blade stock, but it ain't exactly thin either. 31 thousandths behind the edge. It did come very sharp out of the box. Crewwear is going to hold a good edge and all that stuff. As far as EDC task goes, I do find it to be a bit awkward. Like, even trying just to open up a box or something, it's just kind of, when you're making slower, smaller cuts, yeah, you can choke up on it, but it's not, you almost want to rotate it like this to really do a lot of the stuff that we usually do. And you can, it's comfortable to put your finger up there. But I know it's rare that I ask for more jimping, but I don't think it would hurt to have a bit more jimping up here. But, design's been around forever. They ain't going to change it. This was just brought back to as faithfully recreate the original as they could. The original was in 3V. That steel is not only expensive, fairly hard to come by now, so I totally see why they went with the Crewwear. I think that's a perfectly good replacement for it. Yeah, it's a very unique blade. It's definitely very robust. It does fit the name. It is tough. It is definitely going to you're not going to be worried about snapping the tip off on that thing. Never use your knife as a pry bar, but you definitely can. The ergos are excellent. Not unsurprising for a very large knife. It's pretty easy, but whether you hold it back like this and want to get more reach, that's fine. Or choking up, it's pretty good. Like I said, I do wish there was some jimping up here. I think that would be very handy. But yeah, ergos are pretty darn good. As is, surprisingly, the carry. I think that's the thing I was most pleasantly surprised by this knife. I didn't buy this. This is a loaner from a viewer, and I do very much appreciate it. So does the dog outside. It's that time of day. But it does carry pretty well. Like I said, the handles, the thickness is pretty slim. It sticks out a lot with that pocket clip to make room for the lanyard hole. Got a big silly knife like this. I'm not gonna rant about that like I usually do. People probably are gonna put big silly lanyards on them. If you're spending $315 on a 7-year discontinued knife, you are probably going to do stuff like put a lanyard and things on it. And for a big hard use knife like this, you do want a bit sticking out so your gloved hands and stuff get a hold of it. Not going to give it a hard time about that. And definitely not going to give it a hard time about how easy it is to get your hand past. Shockingly easy. It looks like it would be terrible. And it totally isn't. It actually carries pretty darn well for a knife this size. I have zero complaints there. Not bad at all as far as how it carries. Action, also pretty good. And I would venture to guess that 7 years ago, coming out of Taichung with a titanium frame lock, knowing some of the other older titanium frame locks from Spyderco, such as like the Domino, things like that, I would venture to say it probably wasn't that good back then. But it is now. It's running on washers. Detent's very good. Not totally drop shutty, but it's close to it. You can Spidey flick it. You can thumb flick it. You can do all those cool Spyderco things. Also, you can use that fuller to Spidey flick it if you want to, or to thumb open it. The action on it is actually pretty good. Pretty satisfying sound it makes as well. A little muted because one side's G10, but not bad. I don't know. I guess my issue is $315. That's a lot of money. And for a knife that, I don't know, did people want it to come back? I might just be wrong, and I'm totally prepared to be wrong on this, because this isn't really my kind of knife, but it's a lot of money, and it was just interesting that DLT chose this one to bring back. But it is great that Spyderco is doing this. Like a Knife Joy brought back the Swish Buoy. Everybody wanted that back. They were able to get Spyderco to make some more. And now DLT wanted to bring back the Tuff, and they were able to get them to make some more. So that's pretty cool. And I'm interested to see what other people would bring back. Like the aforementioned Domino. I know that's kind of been in are they making them? Are they not? There's still a few available new kind of thing for a long time now. But it'd be cool to see somebody do a dealer exclusive of that. There's a few discontinued Spydercos I'd like to see come back, and that would be cool if you could get them in limited runs. But again, these are still available at DLT Trading. DLTtrading.com. So go check them out there. And thank you very much to my wonderful viewer for loaning this to me. I will get it back to you very, very soon. I've been Brian. Have a good one.